everyone. You got to do a little better. I came all the way from America to talk to you. Good afternoon, everyone. All right, that's a little better, but now I want you to just stand up for a moment. Shake, loosen up. It's been a long day for some of you, I'm sure. But since I'm the last one speaking, or next to the last one, you're not going to fall asleep on me. I'm not going to let you. Now, what I want you to do very quickly is I want everyone in the room to go to someone that they don't know and introduce yourself. You got 30 seconds to do this. Tell them what you do and what's one of the most important things in your life.
We're doing one of the events in the university actually, and students told us that we will have the presentation, and our event could be, we are doing 4x4 exercises. One could be cricket, if you don't mind to support us in being there that day, and we are inviting lots of people. But let me tell you what I do outside of the university. I work as a TV presenter in NBC channel, the only maybe the Middle East channel in the first successful talk show in the
Thank you. Now, wasn't that wonderful? Didn't that feel good? And it looked like in the room we have a lot of people from all walks of life. But I want to take a moment before I actually get into my actual presentation. I don't have all the bells and the whistles. It's just me. Sorry. This is very, very nice. I want to thank Middlesex University, Marina, and the organizers here for actually inviting me. I was actually scheduled to do a presentation with my wonderful husband, whom I actually met while he was on his journey. So I'm a little nervous coming after him because wasn't that such a great presentation? Let's give him another round of applause. This is really nice for me because I get to go back from America and say, wow, I met some wonderful people, very sporty people. That's what it looks like anyway. And I'm able to go back to America with this, with my picture and some of the other people that I met. So whoever put this together, let's give them a round of applause. Now, what's amazing is I've had the opportunity to listen to all of the presentations today that was here, of course, except I'll get to hear the closing remarks after I get done speaking. From the beginning to the end, it has been absolutely brilliant, and I went through a string of emotions as I was listening to everyone talk, and I was just about ready to bawl after Ingram got done speaking because it was such a heartfelt and passionate message. But Anish, who spoke first, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Am I pronouncing your name right? He said something that was really interesting to me. He said he's not very educated, and he talked about, maybe he's not doing so well in school or university. But I wanted to say to you that education comes from the etymological root of educe, which means to bring out and cultivate that which is within. I would say you have to be one of the most educated people that I have ever met. Let's give Anisha. Now, of course, Dr. Ann Elliott, I don't see her here, but I have to share this. I have been in London for almost 6 months. And since I've been here, I've been speaking. I've actually came to help with some sporty stuff. And I've been reminded over and over again that I'm middle-aged. And I'm thinking it's like, and she said that, well, I'm not saying that you have to be sexy and all that middle-aged. Well, I beg to differ. Because I think that the older we get, the better we get. What do you say about that for those who are middle-aged? Let's give it a round of applause. And then, Abdullah. Very interesting. You said something that really stuck with me. And you said, we may have lost the match, but we made a mark. And that is absolutely brilliant, because isn't that what life is all about? You don't win them all. You don't lose them all. You go through struggles, you go through challenges, but at least when you're here, if you can just make a mark and change someone's life, wouldn't you say that's a wonderful, wonderful thing to do? Let's give Abdullah a hand. And then Tamara. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Correct.
Wonderful. I know it, Tamara. And I've heard it pronounced Tamara and Tamara, but I like Tamara.
Okay.
You said that it's not like women don't kick the ball or women don't kick balls. Well, we not only kick balls, we bounce balls, we hit balls, and I've had my share of hitting plenty of cricket balls. I didn't know anything about cricket before I got here, but trust me, I've been playing a lot of cricket since I've been here. So let's give Tamara. And then Laura from the Tottenham Hotspur. I heard about you in a meeting, not you, but the Tottenham Hotspurs in a meeting, so I was able to raise my hand and say, yeah, I heard of them. I didn't have a clue what you did, so it was really wonderful that you did present the wonderful video that was very informative for someone like me who didn't have a clue. And one of the things I noticed in the video, there was, it was really subliminal, but see, I'm one of those kind of people that I pick up on all the little stuff. And what I picked up in that video, there was a little message that says, to dare is to do. How many saw that in the video? A couple people saw it. And that is absolutely true. And that's what this journey is all about. It's about doing and being courageous enough to actually do. So I would dare everybody in here to do when you leave out of your day. Let's give Laura a hand. And of course, Ingram Jones, who happened to be my husband, met him actually while he was going through the whole Community Champion Award thing. I actually had the opportunity to mentor him and work with him through the process. And his whole motto about creating champions on and off the field, I think is a wonderful thing. So let's give Ingram Jones a hand. Now, I just want to get an idea who's in the room. How many in here has actually played sport in their lifetime or actually play sports today? May I see your hands? Okay. How many has played or play now or has been a spectator or watched it on television or something? Let me see your hand. Okay. How many in here has done anything with respect to sport, heard about it, went to a meeting about it, watched it, played it, went to the park and watched it? Let me see your hands. So that should be just about everyone in the room, right? So we have a lot of sporty people in the room. So give yourselves a round of applause, sporty people. All right. Now, you know what? But the $1 million, well, I guess I'm in England, so I should say the £1 million question is this. For those of you who have played, have ever played, who watch it, who's rooting for your own team, what's the number one thing you think about? Winning. That's right. It's all about winning. But let me share a story with you, because we all think it's about winning. It depends on what I'm watching or what team I'm rooting for, because I still say winning is pretty amazing. But I'm going to tell you a story. I may not look like a sporty person. I'm actually a girly girl, or at least I try to convince myself that I'm a girly girl. But I actually used to play softball. How many knows what softball is? Okay. I used to play softball, and for those of you who don't know what softball is, I would say it's like cricket, but it really is different when you hold the bat different. But softball is like baseball, where you hold the bat like that, and I guess cricket, I'm still trying to get this. You kind of hold it like that, and I still don't know that defensive forward, but I'm going to get it. But I used to play softball, I used to play basketball, and I used to be a cheerleader. I don't count cheerleading because I was always afraid to do a backflip, except for on the trampoline. And we're not going to talk about the splits, okay? But in softball, I played shortstop and second base. Now, for those of you who've never seen softball, that's like really big stuff. To be able to play shortstop and second base, that's like you're really good. But I used to play softball. And we had an amazing team. I was at Roosevelt Junior High School, and I remember it like it was just yesterday. And what happened is, We had an amazing team. We ended up taking second place over the season. But what we would do is, during softball season, we had our games every Saturday morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we had practice almost every day after school. So it took a lot of dedication and a lot of commitment. But we were left to get to our games on Saturday mornings on our own. We didn't have a bus or a carpool that took us to the games. And a lot of the children, we were like in 5th grade, I guess you call it year 5 here, or 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade. We had to actually walk 1 to 3 miles to get to our games. And that took a lot of dedication. But not one of us, we never missed the games. We were always there at practice. And we ended up taking second place. And I thought that was pretty amazing. No problems. We had a wonderful coach. But then I also played basketball at that same school. I played point guard. I was fast. I could dribble the ball. I could shoot. So I had it all going on. And I'll never forget my coach, good old Mr. Wessendorf. And I had the same coach for softball and basketball. But see, in basketball, me and Mr. Wessendorf, we didn't see eye to eye. Because I started every basketball game except for the most important game, and that was our first tournament game. And he didn't start me that game, so I was really upset. I was very, very upset. He set me on the bench. We were losing. We were down like 20 points, and I'm just sitting here, I gotta get in the game, I gotta get in the game, I gotta get in the game. So we were down 20 points. It was the 3rd quarter. He finally decides to put me in the game. So I'm out there and the team knew I was quick. I was a point guard, so I would always get the ball. The ball was passed to me. They kept passing back the ball to me, even though I would pass it out, and I would shoot. I mean, I just had a jump shot that was just like really nice, right? I helped catch the team back up, and we were maybe like within 4 to 6 points of actually catching up with the other team. We hadn't lost a game. We had a winning streak. We were like the top pick to actually win the tournament. So I made this shot that got us closer, and I was like this, just profiling and styling. And the whistle blows. I get pulled out of the game. It's like, we were 20 points down, and I'm sitting here arguing with the coach. It's like, no, but no, Mr. Wessendorf, blah, 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 you know. So he sits me down on the bench, and we get behind again, like 10 points, and I'm begging, I'm on the bench, come on. And I'm just displaying just totally poor sportsmanship. Arrogance. It's like I was playing the game all by myself. And I begged him from the 3rd quarter all the way to the last about 2 minutes of the game to the 4th quarter. He finally let me come back in the game. So I went back in the game, and we lost that game by 3 points. So that means we were completely knocked out of the tournament. That was against Treewind School. I still have a grudge against Treewind School today. I just want you to know that. So anyway, it's like, okay, I blame Mr. Wessendorf for us losing that game. At least I did back then. So then, here we go. Let me fast forward it for you. Then I grow up. I leave Roosevelt Junior High School, go to Richwoods High School, go to college, do all the wonderful things I'm doing, and then I get married and have children. Now, my children right now are 25, 21, and 18. They're very sporty. All 3 of them play sports. I know you're looking like, huh? Yes. See, when you get close to middle age, you can still look good. Thank you, and I received that. But I have to tell you, just stray from the message real quick. I'm a former Mrs. Illinois and play 2nd runner-up worldwide. But before I claimed that title, standing on the platform of National Child Welfare Reform, I actually weighed almost 200 pounds. So, you know, one of the things that sports teaches you is overcoming challenges and all sorts of things in your life. And I've overcome some tremendous challenges in my life, from obesity, from abuse, from a lot of things. I grew up epileptic. I can give you a whole slew of things that I've been through and overcome. But I just wanted to share that we don't have to do what Dr. Ann Elliott say and be the ones that have to rock and get out of the chair. You know, I seem to put on the weight when I come here. Normally in America, I'm a size 6. America's size, which I guess is like a 10 here.
8.
But I seem to come here, and I'm always running. I'm a swimmer by, you know, I like to swim, but I run here. I run for the bus, I run for the train. I run back and forth. If I miss this bus, I run to catch that bus. So I just don't understand why I gain weight here and then I go to America where I'm driving everywhere and then the weight just starts to fall off. But you can do it. Even if you're middle-aged, you can do it. So I just wanted to say that. But getting back to my story with my children. So all three of my children were very sporty. They all play sports. Let's see. My oldest daughter, who's 25 now, she played basketball and did a little coaching of basketball. I think the big thing here is netball. I have been to some meetings where they're trying to get women's basketball up and going, so I hope that, does well. And then my 21-year-old, she played, let's see, basketball, she ran track, she played volleyball, she was a cheerleader, and she did golf. Now my son, who's hearing impaired, he played basketball. It was like watching paint dry. Literally, it was, if you can imagine. I'm not saying that because he's hearing impaired. I'm saying that because at that age when he played basketball, he wasn't very sporty. Excuse me. And he played American football, which I was scared to death when he started playing football because he was like thin and small and all these other football players were like big and stocky, and I was like, oh gosh, and I'm a wuss anyway. And then he played golf. He was actually an amazing golf player. But this winning attitude that I had, that I took with me because I was very, very competitive, that was kind of tempered when I went to my son's first football game. And he went to Kansas School for the Deaf. He was actually mainstream most of his educational career. And then he got to a certain age and said, I wanted to experience what it's like going to a school for the deaf. And so I moved to another state. Kansas School for the Deaf is one of the top schools in the country. I moved to Kansas to give him the opportunity to go to that school. And which I was very pleased because his communication development did leaps and bounds. So I was really grateful that we made that decision. And I went to his first football game. And it was really interesting because I kept hearing the whistles. Now, all of these football players on his team are deaf. Either they're hard of hearing or they're deaf. But they were blowing the whistle. So me being the analytical person that I am and observing every little thing, even those things that I don't want to observe, that I seem to observe, I'm like, what is the whistle for? And some of the other parents and I was talking, we didn't really know. But yet we were seeing the students or the players on the field responding to the whistles. And so we're like wondering, well, how is this, what's going on? So then we started asking questions and I realized that the whistle wasn't for our team. The whistle was for the other team because they were playing hearing peers. And our team was being signaled by colored flags and by lights, which I thought was so amazing. And at that point, it became less about winning, because our team wasn't winning anyway, but it did become less about winning because I realized that, wow, this is really important. My son's need, or one of his needs, is being met. He's being included. He's able to play football, which is something he wanted to do. And they're able to interact with their hearing peers. And I thought it really demonstrated a lot of understanding and a lot of compassion. And I was truly, truly, truly touched by that whole experience. So it touched me in a way and made me realize that it wasn't all about winning. Now I want to fast forward just a little bit. This is my little cheat area, so I come back over here and cheat when I need to. But what was interesting is when my children play sports, like particularly my middle daughter, she was very, very good at basketball. I mean, very good. And their whole team they were very, very sporty, very talented. All of us parents, we would go to the games. We would support all of the games, whether they were at home or away games. And what was really interesting is we were such a rowdy group of parents because all of the parents were competitive. The children playing basketball were competitive. They were very good. They had a really, really good league. And the parents would get together. We would pack the snacks for the team. We would pack the drinks for the team. We would go try to coach at the coach's table. And so finally the coaches is like, you know, the parents are showing up. They're really kind of making a nuisance for us. So what they started doing is allow us to do some of the scoring sometimes. They allowed us to do the videotaping. And sometimes we did the concession stands, and we wait at the door where we take $2 or $3 for people to come into the game. And it really worked out well. And I was probably the most embarrassing one there, and probably the loudest, the one with the biggest mouth. I embarrassed my daughter terribly, and she'll probably tell you today if she was here. And what was interesting, though, is they gave me the job one time of doing the video camera. So when it came time to play back the tape, you could only see feet. Because I was so into the game that I didn't record anything. Of course, that was the last time I was able to videotape. But what was interesting is every time our children came out, you know how they introduced the play. I don't know if you've ever seen an American basketball game, even a pro game, how they have the starting lineup and they call the starting lineup. Well, actually, that happens even in junior high and high school. And so when they would call our girls out, we would make all the noise, and you could hear our team, and the other team was just as competitive as well. But what was good is when the team came out, the first thing they would do is look out to the stands. And they would try to identify those familiar faces, whether they were at a home game or whether they were at an away game. You could always see it. And no matter how embarrassing we as parents were, it meant so much to our not only team members, but it meant so much to the girls on the team to look out and see their parents, their friends, their parents' families. And that support goes a long way, and it's such an amazing thing for these children. And so that kind of reinforced more. It's not only about winning. And so now I want to fast forward it to today. You know, when I came to the United Kingdom, I noticed a lot. And you see, America, they have the financial strategy in terms of sports. They got that pretty locked down, which is really phenomenal. Because in high school, you have scouts from colleges that will come and scout soccer. I guess you call football here, we call it soccer there. They'll scout out soccer players, they'll scout out basketball players, baseball players, track and field. They will scout these students out in high school, and they will give them full ride scholarships to college. So a parent doesn't have to pay anything for their children to go to college, as long as they keep their academics up to a certain level and they are still able to play sports. Now, one of the things I told my daughter, she was a very, very talented basketball player, could have got any scholarship for college. She ended up getting academic, because I told her, no matter how good you are in sport, you still have to educate your mind, and you still have to be able to perform off the court as you would on the court as well. And so I'm grateful to say that she was able to get an academic scholarship. But what's phenomenal is the fact that they have this whole financial thing. Organizations are able to make millions and millions of dollars as a spectator sport. NBA players, NFL players, they make millions and millions and millions of dollars a year. But when I came to the United Kingdom, one of the things that I learned is, while America may have the financial brain of sports, the UK has the heart of sports. And it wasn't until I came to the UK that I realized that truly, 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 sport is not only about competing and winning, but it's about empowering. It's about building character. It's about giving people an opportunity to do something that they would never have the opportunity to do, no matter what their condition is. You know, with my son being hearing impaired, he was excluded in a lot of things and isolated. And so to be able to see him take part in sport was like a mother's dream, that her son, who may have been born with a particular challenge, is able to have some sense of normalcy in their lives. When I came to the UK, I had the opportunity through a gentleman by the name of Glenn Davis, who invited Ingram and I to a SENS program. I think that's what they call it here. and to see some of the young people who were participating in sport who had various different handicaps. And as I was watching, it really touched my heart, you know, because of my own personal experiences. But I think what even here that gave me just like that, oh, I could even help here, is I saw this little boy in the wheelchair who I had been observing actually for a long time when we were there watching, because he was playing cricket, and cricket's my husband's sport, so naturally that's like the first thing you look out for. And he was sitting in his wheelchair, and he had the bat, and they were tossing the ball to him, and he was just hitting the ball. And every time he hit the ball, you could just, you know, they all were cheering, and he was cheering, and you could just see the light in his eyes. And so after all of that, and we were leaving out, actually with some of the other people leaving out, he was trying to wheel himself up this little ramp, just trying to, and he couldn't, he kept rolling back down. And everyone else was busy doing what they're doing. I just watched him and I said, "Do you need help?" He said, "Yes." So I pushed him up that. And just pushing him up that was not like, to me, just pushing his wheelchair. But pushing him up like that is like the people who were providing the sport to them, or the people who take the time to go watch or spectate or rah-rah or cheer them on. You're pushing them up the ladder to success in their life. And that's really, really, really important. And so when I look back, because I spent a lot of time here reflecting how sport really impacted me, because I'm not really a sporty person per se. I'm really kind of dainty, you know, most of the time. I've become more sporty since I've been here. But in reflection, I realized that, wow, even my dreams can be fulfilled through sport. Because with my ability to write, I am the author of From Ordinary to Extraordinary. I've written about 5 books. That's the first one that I published. I'm making it available as an ebook as well. And it's about taking, you know, wherever you are in your life, whatever challenges you're faced with, to be able to overcome them and to do phenomenal things in your life, regardless of the hand that life dealt you. And so, but I've been doing a lot of reflection since I've been here. And I thought about Mr. Westendorf and the lessons that he taught me. He taught me what it is to be dependable as a team member and how to be a team player. He taught me about responsibility and accountability. He taught me the importance of showing up for practice and not just thinking you can show up for the game, but not go through the hard work and the dedication it takes to be good at the game. Watching my children play sports taught me the importance of children needing that moral support, needing to know that we as adults and we as family and community members and teachers and principals are there to support the child's success, or help to encourage them along the way, help them to get over the humps that's needed sometimes when they run into a brick wall. So it taught me all of those lessons. Helping my husband has taught me that even someone who is not a sporty person or who's girly, I think Tamara may have mentioned, or someone else may have mentioned it, about being able to utilize your skills and your gifts. They may not have said it that way, that's how I perceived it. But being able to utilize your abilities and your gifts towards sports. I do business consulting, program development, and I'm a professional trainer for trainers. And so being able to utilize my gifts and my skills towards sports has shown me that I too, even though I have these flashbacks of when I was at Roosevelt Junior High School and all the wonderful lessons that I've learned in life, that I still have something to contribute. And I realized that no matter what country you're from, what your racial or ethnic or cultural background is, no matter what language you speak, that sport is a universal activity. And everybody celebrates sports. And right now, the United Kingdom is fortunate this year to be hosting the 2012 Olympics. Isn't that phenomenal? Let's give the UK a hand. And so, the only words that I can leave you with, I have learned some tremendous lessons in life just through participating, watching, and contributing in whatever way I can to sports. And even if I stood before you 30 years from now to give another message at Middlesex University, I would still most likely have a whole list of new lessons to learn. I've been inspired by the whole process of sports, the whole preparation for the Olympics, by going to the cricket matches, learning how to hold a cricket bat, and even as an adult facing the frustrations of me playing softball, now transferring the knowledge of everything I've learned to do cricket. But the best thing that I can leave you with is that you really can't understand the experience. You really can't understand the magic that's in the process unless you just get involved. Thank you for listening. My name is Atiya.